thing about Good Friday is it's a bold claim for Christians right now to have a day where we don't say at the end of it, God wins. But we kind of sit in the tension of he died.
Good Friday is one of the most beautiful services of the year because oftentimes we don't sit in the reality of what the cross was. And I would love to hear you just share on that and what that means to you, Good Friday service.
I think when we think about Easter and we think about the resurrection of Jesus, or we think about the cross, we don't necessarily sometimes think about them as one sort of continuous journey. Think about the journey. It creates, I think, an entry point for people who are experiencing a lot of suffering in their life in all the different forms that it can take. It can be physical, it can be emotional, it can be mental, it can be spiritual. But suffering is an inescapable part of humanity, and it really goes from there, from the Last Supper, all the way to the cross. And in it, we see Jesus really embracing the totality of human suffering. We see him embracing anxiety in the garden, loneliness, the temptation to feel abandoned by God, to be ridiculed and mocked for his faith, for who he is, to be tortured, beaten, watching the reaction of his closest followers. I think about the disciple John leaning on Jesus on Holy Thursday, and just that sense of intimacy. Less than 24 hours later, he's the only guy standing at the foot of the cross with Jesus' mother, and everyone else has just kind of abandoned him. We think about Peter, who's like, Lord, I'll never forsake you. I'll never deny you to the world. And Jesus is like, actually, you're going to do it 3 times. Peter's anger, cutting off a soldier's ear, his sort of that thing of like lashing out, and Jesus even rebuking him for that. In all of those things, we see a God who's trying to hold capacity for everyone and all of their responses. So when we get to Good Friday, when I get to Good Friday, to me all of that is there, and the good news about all of that being there is that it, no matter what's going on in my life, because of the story of the resurrection and how it comes through the passion and death of Jesus, I can experience that encounter with Christ in no matter what my life looks like. And then the last thing I would say, well, the thing about Good Friday is it's a bold claim for Christians right now to have a day where we don't say at the end of it, God wins.
Yes.
But we kind of sit in the tension of he died.
Yes.
And what was that like for his followers? To go through the next day and a half and not have any certainty. And I think everyone can relate to that, but also begin to, with faith, journey through that, like those moments of uncertainty and doubt.
Yeah. I think when I first really started to appreciate the Good Friday service and have a better understanding of it was after I'd lost my parents. And I lost them within a year. And I just remember sitting at that first Good Friday, just feeling grief at a different level, and then realizing, wait a minute, it's so much more than just you go to your Friday service because you can't wait to get to Sunday. And that was probably the first time I'd really connected the dots of the grieving and the sitting and the lamenting, because I hadn't really learned how to lament before.
Yeah, I think it's one of the hardest things that we don't know how to do. The reality that we're all going to die, it's central to the mystery of the cross.
Right.
And it's because we're going to die. That's why Jesus had to. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why his death is an atoning sacrifice. He used death to destroy death.
Yes. Turning that corner to Easter.
Yeah.
To the Sunday, to He is risen. Christ is Risen is one of, in my personal opinion, the best songs ever. And I wonder, as the person who wrote it, do you sing that with like a new awe or a new revelation on Easter Sunday when you hear songs like that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think I need the reality of the resurrection every day of my life.
Mhm.
But there is something powerful about on Easter Sunday of singing those words. And it's amazing even knowing, like I said, that song was inspired by a sermon that at one point it was preached. What that must have been like for the believers there.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah, to as they're reading, they're telling the story of the resurrection. Maybe they're reading letters. I mean, this is like before the formation of the scriptures.
Right.
And what a powerful reminder that must have been for people to have this sort of bold-faced joy in opposition to, persecution, to disease, to sickness, to grief, all of it, that in the middle of all that, that's where new life begins, and that's where the power of the resurrection starts to work in our lives.
Come awake, come and rise up from the grave.